parents always wonder why we never come talk to them or be open with them about anything in our life. It's because we cannot trust y'all. Y'all always be quick to go tell the family member what's going on in our life, and it be something that's deep, dark, and secret. We have trauma for that, and then on top of that, it's the way how y'all used to deliver y'all messages and tone with us. I don't want to come to you and tell you like the deepest secret I have if I know you're gonna go run your mouth to one of my family members. Like, no.
Hi, everybody. I know you've been seeing on my page where I've just been talking lately about mental health, mental illness, black men struggle with mental illness, and so forth and so on. And I would be not a fair, I wouldn't be fair if um, I wasn't being transparent and thinking about the other side of it. We oftentimes never concentrate on the mother's role or the mother's side of of how a black man is coping, or what a black man is dealing with, a black child, a black boy, a black son is actually dealing with. And if you have raised, are raising, um, and still raising a black son, specifically with no father, um, that means no father. He's not made an appearance since the creation um, of him. This son has to, and life will allow him to, whether he wants it to happen or not. They're going to go through the 7 stages of grief. What sometimes people fail to realize is loss and grief is not necessarily of someone literally passing away. It is from an absence or a loss of a specific thing or person that's no longer a part of their life, or who've never been a part of their life. And they're going to go, and I know some people say, well, if they've never been a part of their life, how can they go through the stages of grief easily? Because if your son is an intelligent son, or if he's at the age of fruition, he's going to realize that mama didn't create him by herself. And then he may even look at mama like, what happened? Why daddy isn't here? Why isn't my father in my life? Some moms give the real answer. They just didn't work out. We tried to make it work. He just was not cut out. And then some parents, mother, because they feel like they've let their son down in some kind of way, they kind of steer off and never really give a complete answer. Whether it falls in any of those categories, the son is going to deal with that, and it's going to affect them every single day of their life. What I always tell moms, especially during Mother's Day, during Father's Day, is I know single moms, you carry the burden a lot of times of trying to be both parents, but you were never cut out to be both parents. You were never cut out to be a father, and you could never be a father. There's certain things built in a male psyche that God has given him to download into the kids that he creates, his sons and his daughters. Um, as the same as a mother is given certain traits. And all mothers are not naturally maternal. So some mothers never don't have that instinct. Sometimes the maternal instinct may be allowed to be, may be given to that child, hopefully by a grandparent, an auntie, a sister, a relative, an older sister or sibling or older cousin, auntie or some form of that matter, because sometimes women don't develop maternal instincts just because they had a child. But this is not about the moms per se. It's about understanding why Johnny all of a sudden seems like he's just not coping well. And in the 7 stages of grief, these mechanisms, I know at one period of time, people always thought it was just 5 stages of grief. It's 7. And they're not necessarily dealt with in order. Sometimes it's out of sync, and sometimes, as life happens, they may arbitrarily go back to a stage that they themselves, if they recognize what they're dealing with, have thought they gotten over it, and then something else triggers them to go even back further, or they might not even recognize it. But the first stage is shock and denial. How could you be with somebody that doesn't want to be a father? Did you talk to my dad? Were you loose? What kind of decisions did you make? What was your thought process when you decided to create me? Why and what was his thought? Why wouldn't he want to be a part of my life? What's wrong with me? Whether a child ever verbalizes this to you, whether a young man, young boy, grown man ever verbalizes this to you, moms, they deal with this and they've thought about it. They thought, especially if they find out that their father has more kids and for some reason they're not in their life. That's a real shock factor. Pain and guilt. Guilty because they feel like maybe if I would have done something to prove that I was a good kid, and I don't ask for much. They don't even have to buy me anything. Just come around and just talk to me. And the pain of them not actually being there, not actually being a part of their life. The pain of just like, so this is how it is. You just don't want to be a part of my life. What did I do? What can I do to fix it? And it never, and we as parents, as the parents that stood around and stayed there, we take it as we did something wrong. Like, we're not enough for you. We were not created. Kids were not created to be parented by one parent. God forbid one of the parent passes away or something like that. We know life can happen, but God created parents for a reason, because we each play a significant role in growing a child. And when one of those entities are not there, something is always missing from the child. And it's a emptiness that you, black moms, can't feel. You can't feel it. As much as you may want to shower them with gifts and say, I can give you can't give them everything they need. It's an impossible mission. You won't be able to feel it. Anger and bargaining. I'm so mad at him. How could he not want to be a part of my life? I'm mad at myself for being here. But maybe if I get better grades, and maybe if I be the best kid I could ever be. Maybe if I make the honor roll. Maybe if I just show him on social media that I am good enough to be around. I'll make you proud. I won't disappoint you. And he still doesn't show up. and you look for him to show up at the football game or just be there and be present, maybe come around for a few minutes on my birthday, or just to be around, just maybe just drop by on Christmas and just send a shout out on Thanksgiving. And then depression. Depressed because everybody else has their father at the game. Everybody else has their father showing up for their big moments and graduation and just being there and just having that voice of advice and support and just the what's wrong with me comes, and I'm just a disappointment. I can see why my daddy never wanted to be in my life. I can see because I'm nothing. I can never live up to his expectations of a good son. So I can see why he didn't want to be around. And then the upward turn. Forget it, I can make it without him. I've seen a lot of kids out here make it without their dads and their moms doing the best they can. Forget it. The pastor talks to me all the time. That's a male role model. I got a great uncle. I got a great grandfather. I got a great friend that got a great dad that I can talk to sometimes. So I have role models and I have mentors. I have people that can be a village to me. And then the reconstruction and working through. Just finding a way of saying that when I have kids, I will be a better person. When I have kids, I will never leave my kids by themselves because I know what it feels like to look around for daddy and daddy not be there. I know what it feels like to wanna just say nobody in this house understands me because I'm the only man or male role in the house, and I've had to make decisions that I shouldn't have to make because my psyche is not there to be able to make decisions for a man to think like a man, because I'm still trying to even figure out what is going on with me. I don't even know what's going on with me. So mama's asking me to step up. I'm the man of the house, but I don't even know how to be the son of the house because I never was even shown how to be the man of the house. And now she's expecting me to be something that I haven't even been given the tools to become. So I'm just supposed to just do it. But I'm going to find a way to make my mama proud, whether it's just working and giving her money towards the bills. I'm going to try my best to just be better at what she needs. Acceptance and hope. I can accept that my dad never was there. I can accept that for some reason he didn't find it in his heart to want me to be a part of his world or to be a part of my world, to help grow and nurture me and to be a better man, to love me, because he was a part of creating me. So I know that if I ever indulge in having a child or if I create a child, I would never make them feel the emptiness of a father not being there. I would never make them feel like they're not good enough to have their fathers there, and support them and honor them and make sure that they know they're loved. And then in other stages in their lives, those are the 7 stages. But oftentimes black men go through those stages repeatedly. The ones who don't have the fathers, the ones that didn't have the mentor, the example, the ones that, okay, he gets it. He understands sometimes when I'm silent it's because I can't find the words to say because life is life, and he understands that I like this girl, but I'm a little subconscious because I don't feel like I can be the best person for her, but I really like her. So he understands when I tell him, hey, how do I get with her? What do I say? He understands when my body is changing and my voice is changing, but I'm still not the tallest kid in the classroom. He understands that when I'm struggling just to get along with people, when I always feel like I'm different. He understands. This is a call for both mom and dad. The child never asked to be here. The child never requested for you to co-create and create them. And so often we look at social media, we look at TV, and we shake our heads and like, and a lot of times it's people who know that they ain't right, that they could have made a better choice with their children. Like, oh my goodness, we losing our black kids. Make an example. Be the example that you would like to see in the world. Make a better change. It's not too late. If your son is still here, it is not too late to be in their lives, because they're living their lives without you, and it's killing them. On the inside, they don't even know how you could not want to see how great they turned out in spite of you, and the miracle that they became, and how mom struggled to try to make ends meet. But sometimes mama wasn't always perfect, because mama was suffering with her own trauma, trying to make it through and make ends meet. So a toxic mom raising a son with an absentee dad, they don't have an outlet. All they have is the emptiness of a room, and hearing how they're the man of the family, and why you didn't do this and why you didn't do that, and why can't you help your sister do this, and why didn't you get your brother up for school, and then you could barely even get up to go to work because you're tired, and because you're trying to understand how did you become a man of the house when you never even was given the opportunity to be the little boy. And a lot of times our sons are crying because the little boy in them wants to go into that shell of protection and not have to deal with life in its essence, because you never took time to understand that the times when you thought I was acting different, the times when I was quiet, the times when I wasn't talking, it wasn't that I was mad or upset and nothing happened in school. I wasn't being bullied. It's because I couldn't find the words. I didn't know what to say in certain situations. I was at a loss of words because I didn't understand. A lot of things just didn't come together for me. And if I could just find someone that I could just talk to, and if I could just find someone that could listen to me and hear me and allow me to just lay my frustrations out, lay my anger out. And now I'm triggered. And now I'm dealing with anxiety and stress, and how to just cope, and people think that something has snapped in me, but nothing has snapped in me. It's just that I don't have a space where I can just be me and just be the person that I've always wanted to be, and just, I'm not shy, I'm not distant. I just don't know how you would accept me for being me, because the me that you think I am, I'm not that person. The me that you created me to be, the best way you could, I'm not the person. When you talk about he's so good in school and he's going to college and all that, I haven't even thought about college, and I don't even know what I want to do. And you've labeled me with these high expectations that I don't even have, and I don't even think about having, and I don't even know if I even want to have them, because I don't even know what I want to do tomorrow, let alone go to college. And sometimes as parents, we don't listen. We have an idea of what we see our kids doing, because we want to push our sons and our daughters to super excel past what we did, or prove something to their dad, like, see how Johnny made it without you, see how Susie made it without you. And it's a load, and it's a weight that you put on your kids, that sometimes it breaks them down, because that's not who they are, and they've never been able to express that, mom, I don't really want to go to college, I'd rather just work. Or, mom, I don't really feel like this is what I want to do, I really want to do this. And until we, as single parents in this world, I'm not a single parent, but I'm speaking as single parents out there, if you're going to be a single parent and that's what you plan to do, get yourself some assistance as far as counseling, because trust me, it's some steps that you're missing. Again, we were never created to be single parents. If that was the case, we would be able to create on our own. Is a reason why it takes two to create. And I'm not blaming you for Johnny not stepping up. I'm not blaming you for Jane leaving her kids at your doorstep. But it's too much resources. It's too many ways that you can get assistance now. And there's no way that in 2024 that people are not reaching out to get the assistance that they can receive and they deserve to have. If you want to do better, if you want your kids to do better, then it first starts with you doing better and you seeking the assistance that you need so you can be able to pour into your kids, because you can't help Johnny and Susie if you got nothing to give. If you're depleted yourself, what can you give somebody else? What example can you set? And we self-medicate. And we ignore the signs of our own depressions, of our own desires, because we're too busy working to try to pay the bills that we forget that we need pouring into ourselves. And it's hard. It is hard. And I know sometimes we always want to say, I'm mommy and daddy, but you're not. And that's a weight that you put on yourselves when you give yourself that title. It's not your title to have, and you don't deserve that title. You deserve to be full mama. And a daddy that's raising their kids, they deserve to be full daddy. It's things that daddy can't give daughters, and it's things that mama can't give sons. And it's things that dads can't give sons, that mom can only give. It's the maternal thing that boys need. And it's some things that moms can't give daughters, that a dad has to give. This thing was created in its full essence, the way that it was meant to be created. It is us that have drifted off to how we want to live and how we have changed the dynamics. And people have suffered because of the world shifting. The world not where it's supposed to be, and people have suffered because of it. Forget it, I can make it without him. You're making it without him, but somebody else is suffering. Forget it, you don't need nobody to talk to you. No, he don't need to be in any sports. He don't need to talk to nobody. Because you too embarrassed to allow people to know that Johnny been suffering for a long time. And you don't want nobody to know, because you feel like that's a negative on you. You feel like if I allow Johnny to get help, then they gonna know that I somehow failed as a parent. And I got something to say about that. No, they don't feel like you did something wrong. As a matter of fact, getting your kids help, getting yourself help, is the first step to saying that you have accepted that you don't always get it right, and that you don't always make the right decisions, and your kids will thank you later for getting them help, for you getting your own help. Because then you will be able to come together as a unified, healed family and not a broken family. It's a lot of broken families out here that suffer in silence because they don't want anybody to know that they're suffering. They want to put on the brave front of the Joneses, and what they don't understand is the Joneses sit up and cry every night. The Joneses are not even the Joneses, because you put them on a level that they never wanted to be on. I'm hoping that this series of just talking about mental health, mental struggles, life decisions is helping someone, because it is so prevalent in our family. And I'm not just talking about my family. I'm just talking about in black families in general. I'm just talking about families in general. It's so many black families that has someone that suffers in silence because they're afraid to be the odd one out. They're afraid to make the family look bad. But then that suffering in silence eventually comes out, because it's only so much you can sweep under the rug till somebody falls over. And that's when you get to the realness of what family really is. Because when that person comes out, then it allows somebody else in the family to be like, you know what, I've been dealing with that for a long time. And then somebody else, you know what, Aunt Jane, years ago, I thought it was something going on with her. And now I see what y'all are talking about. It came through other generations and other generations. And other people have dealt with it. And it's so many people that have died and left the family that had mental issues and mental illnesses that we never knew about because we just thought they was just them. They had mood swings. One moment they were happy, next minute they were sad, and next minute they were angry, and the next minute they were laughing, and the next minute they were crying, and we just ruled it out because that's just how they always been. But that's not normal. Emotional imbalances is not normal. We have normalized people having mental illnesses and mental issues. We've normalized it so much to when we see it in our kids, we figure, hey, that's how Aunt Jane was. Leave him alone. He just acting like his Aunt Jane. Sometimes we all do that. It's not normal, and we've normalized not getting counseling. We normalize just going to church and praying over it. But God has given us the tools and the mechanisms to reach out to counselors that were birthed for this precise time, for this precise moment, for this time in life. God created everything that's out here people always saying, I'm going to pray about it and God is going to help me. God has helped you. God has provided resources. It is us who have lacked reaching out to these resources. The resources are there. We just haven't reached out to it. And what God looks at is, yes, it is a faith walk, but you got to start the walk. And I'll help you and I'll guide you. And I'll let you know if you're going to the wrong counselor, if your instincts will tell you, or your something inside you will pull up and say, you know what, that's the wrong person. And it don't always have to be a spiritual counselor. Sometimes it can be someone that's not spiritual at all that can pour into you and give you what you need so you can get where you need to be in life. We got to normalize counseling. We got to normalize getting help. We got to normalize talking. We got to normalize opening up. We got to normalize stop allowing people to go into their shells and crack that shell. Not irritate them, but crack that shell to where they feel like they can come to you and they don't have to hear what they shared with you from someone else. The worst thing that you could ever do to someone is to have them be vulnerable to you, and then that vulnerability that they gave to you, they hear it coming from someone else in the family. They hear it coming from someone else that they never shared their issues with. That is one of the most hurtful things that you could ever do to someone who shared with you the most vulnerable things that ever happened to them, and they have to hear it through someone that they never shared it through. You can kill someone's spirit and make them close up and never share anything, not just with you ever again, but with nobody ever again. And then they get with somebody who don't understand why Lorraine don't talk that much. She goes into her inner self, or she jokes a lot when she's going through something, because that's her defense mechanism, because she don't really trust anybody, because when she was vulnerable with the person that she thought she could trust the most, they talked about it to somebody else. And they got it wrong, that somebody else got it wrong. And they were sharing business that wasn't their business to share. All I want to say is, black people, we have to want better and do better. We are losing our sons, our black men, to suicide. Suicide is at a high rate for our black sons, more than spoken about. We hear about white men and women killing themselves, but guess what? The statistics of black men killing themselves is higher. It's just that what? We don't talk about it. Black men suffer in silence because they're afraid to shame the family. And it's not about shaming the family. It's about getting healed. And their deliverance and their healing can help everybody else, because I'm 99% sure that when Johnny has been suffering, other people have been suffering, watching Johnny suffer. And the trauma that Johnny has been suffering with, someone else has that same trauma. And his healing will heal someone else. I thank you guys for listening. If you made it to the end of this video, the series is definitely not over. I will definitely continue to pour in and speak about different forms of trauma. And I just want you guys to know that my whole thing is to set captives free, to allow people to truly go and walk into their greatness. And I don't pretend to know it all, because I don't. I don't pretend to have all the answers, because I don't. But I do know that I want better for our sons, for our daughters, for our nieces, our nephews, for our husbands and our wives. In order to get better, we got to want to do better. We got to seek to do better. God bless you all. Be safe out there and take care of yourselves and take care of your mind. Be blessed.